Alright, Mono Red, Frenzy, and Modern. So Experimental Frenzy is a card you're probably familiar with from Standard. You can look at the top card of your deck and play it at any time. And then this deck has Runaway Steam-Kin like we have in Standard, but past Runaway Steam-Kin, it also has cards like Burning-Tree Emissary that allow it to make mana when it comes into play. We have these Ritual cards that turn 2 mana into 3 mana. And then we have these cards Reckless Bushwhacker and Goblin Bushwhacker that when we play them, they give your creatures +1 attack and haste until end of turn. So you kind of kick these and then get to attack with everything you've put into play off the Experimental Frenzy. Modern also has these cards called Fetch Lands, which are basically like Evolving Wilds, but they only get specific types of lands, and they come into play untapped. So basically these lands thin our deck a little bit, which is relevant when we're drawing a lot of it, and we can hold them to shuffle our deck when Frenzy shows us a card that we can't or don't want to play. Ooh. Let's go ahead and dive on in here. Take my $8, Moto. Last time I played this on stream, or off stream technically for a YouTube video once before, and I think we had, I think I went 3-2 or 4-1. The deck generates some really good explosive games of Magic. It doesn't look like it on the surface, but when I played it last time with some good draws, this deck can actually kill on turns like 3 and 4. I wonder what kind of issue they hit with the arena stuff, because 90 minutes for emergency downtime is a long time. I wonder if the Invitational this weekend is going to be held live on the internet server, or if they have an offline server for it. Is there any reason to play Scalding Tarn over Wooded Foothills? No, any random red fetch will do. Just any dealer's choice of 9 red fetches. So we're going to go ahead and dive on in here. And for some of my Modern regulars, I am going to be going through and explaining a little bit more what exactly is going on the other side of the table, with the hopes that we have some people sticking around from the Standard portion, because we're going to be going back to Standard once Arena's out of downtime. We're going to go ahead and keep this on the draw. The purpose of playing Scalding Tarn is to send the message, I can afford to play a different deck, but I like this one, so I'm going to put my $100 fetch lands in it. Towards Spreadsheet, Grixis Hollow Flare. Will do, Rabbit. Thanks for the bits. Alright, so my opponent played a dual land here and then used a mechanic called Suspend. So this card kind of goes off to the side until it eventually gets cast. So it is just a 1-mana lightning bolt that has a 1-turn delay, basically. $100 lands. Yeah, this card's like 80 or 90 bucks in paper. It's quite absurd. Modern is very expensive. So this hand, I mentioned earlier, this deck can kill on turns 3 and 4. This is actually one of our really fast turns. So this is actually another card that's standard legal, Skirk Prospector. So this card adds us an extra mana if we sacrifice it next turn. And then with this Desperate Ritual card, we actually have 1, 2, 3, 4 mana. I can cast Frenzy on turn 2 next turn if they don't kill this. So this card is incredibly good against us. Modern is a format where there are a lot of very polarizing cards, where often your entire strategy is going to be shut down by a single card out of the opponent. This is one of those cards in this instance. So this card deals 2 damage to us every time we cast a spell that costs 3 or less, which our entire deck is based around casting spells that cost 3 or less. So I'm going to go ahead and cast the Experimental Frenzy here, but there's a good chance we die trying to play through our deck next turn. Because my deck is just trying to be linear and race my opponent here, I don't have any interaction or ways to remove this in my main deck. So my goal is to just hope they don't have a card like this game 1 and I just kill them. So I'm at 14 life here. This is going to attack me for 2. My opponent's deck is basically all spells for 1 or 2 mana that deal 3 to 4 points of damage. They're just a burn deck, basically. So I'm probably taking somewhere between 2 and 5 this turn, which means I'm only going to get to play 3 or 4 spells next turn. So there's a good chance I just can't play enough and I die. So this puts me to 8. This puts me to 6, which means I only get to play 2 spells that cost 3 or less next turn, so very likely dead. This is one of my 2 spells, and that's another, so we're dead here. Yeah, there's lightning bolts in the sideboard, Pie Guy, and we're gonna board the lightning bolts in here. So post board, we have not only these lightning bolts here that are good, but we have these 2 copies of Dragon's Claw, and Dragon's Claw is a really powerful hate card. It says whenever a player casts a red spell, we get to gain 1 life. So this is incredibly good against my opponent's deck because they're trying to burn us out, and both their spells and our spells will trigger Dragon's Claw to give us lots of health to stay in the game. Will do, Pizza. Thanks for the biddies. It is symmetrical. Alright, so I need to sideboard out 3 more cards here. Yeah, probably just trim Priest and a Faithless Looting. Just trim around the edges, basically. If we finish this league and you find yourself interested in seeing more of Magic's older formats, you can find a ton of these on my YouTube channel. And we also play a little bit of Magic's older formats every morning to start my stream. So this hand doesn't have a second land in it, but it has the copy of the card Faithless Looting. That's going to let me draw 2 cards. So I think I'm going to keep this because I could loot into a second land. I notably have the copy of Lightning Bolt here, which is going to let me kill an Eidolon, that card that killed me last game. So I have my key piece of interaction, and I have a way to hopefully find a second land here. That was a good example of getting moderned. Just do what your deck is looking to do on turn 2 and still dead. Yep, Greg, I agree. You know, I probably should have discarded this second Bushwhacker instead of this one, because this one I can cast with a colorless mana, and this makes a green mana. So I'm gonna play Runaway Steam-Kin on 2 here. There's a good chance this just dies, but if it doesn't, it's very good, obviously, just like in Standard. Yeah, Magic, I was planning to do a long stream today. I'm planning to go for another 4 hours or so. And Magic Arena was having downtime. They have emergency downtime happening right now, so for the next 90 minutes they are offline. So we're kicking on for a Modern League. Yep, he's dead, Jim. So I'm short on lands here. I think I'm gonna Neonate, discard this Bushwhacker to try and find a land. I basically just need to get this Frenzy into play ASAP, so I'm looking for mana. Well, I guess that's a piece of mana, technically. Then if I draw a Ritual or a land next turn, I get the Frenzy going. Actually, I don't know if they updated the status page. It just says to deploy a hotfix. It doesn't say what the hotfix is for. So there's the Eidolon that killed us last game. Thankfully, I have a Lightning Bolt this game. Would still really like to draw a land this turn. I can work up to have enough mana to do this. My opponent suspended another Rift Bolt there. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bolt this Eidolon. I don't want to let my opponent untap with the Eidolon because their deck plays 4 copies of a card called Boros Charm, which does 4 damage to a player, or it can make their permanents indestructible. So if I let them untap, they could potentially protect their Eidolon by making it indestructible in response to my Lightning Bolts here. Hey, what's going on, Unbanned Twin? Hope you're having a fantastic day. Welcome, welcome, welcome. That being said, even though we have the answer to their Eidolon here, because we've stumbled on mana, it looks like the rest of their plan's going to kind of come together and push us out of this game. So, like, we're taking 3 from the Bolt, we're taking 2 from the Swift Spear. This Goblin Guide attacks for 2 here. The third Motive Charm is gain Double Strike. Alright, that's a land. They have 3 cards in their hand, though, here. All right, 2 cards. I could just be dead here. I'm at 6, and they have 2 cards, and most of their cards deal 3 damage. All right. So I'm going to play this. I'm going to play this. I'm going to play Prospector. I'm actually not attacking with these because I need them on defense to block these next turn. And again, we could just be dead here, right? Like, any 2 non-creature spells they could have basically kill us here. Because we are at 6. If we get incredibly fortunate, we could kill them next turn after we block, but it's pretty unlikely. Yeah, so the Goblin Guide attacks every turn, and if you noticed, it drew us a mountain last turn, because every time it attacks, it reveals the top card of our deck, and if it's a land, we draw it. So, there's one of 2 spells they need to kill us. Am I dead yet? Maybe not. Give me a mountain. Good little Goblin Guide. You're swell, Goblin Guide. I take back most of the bad things I've said about you. Do I play the Dragon's Claw? I think I do. That's like my chance to get in this game, right? I think I just Dragon's Claw. And then I think I'm chump blocking, and then we'll play Frenzy next turn and hope to do stuff from there. Okay. I would love to use Dragon's Claw ability. And now, this guide, if it attacks, is going to reveal the top card of our deck, which gives me a little bit of information because I can choose to shuffle if I don't like the card that's on top of my deck. There's a Burning-Tree Emissary. That's free to play, right? So I want that. I probably want to cash this in as a game 2, though. Oh, I could have double blocked the Swift Spear. Yeah, that's better because they don't have any cards in their hand. I agree with that. Double blocking the Swift Spear is better than jumping here. I concur with that assessment. And I think I want to leave this fetch land up to give myself... Nah. Do I? Do I leave the fetch land up? No, I don't think I'm supposed to. Because I want to be able to play a 1-drop off the top of my deck and then play a land. Always yes, always yield. Wow, that's bad beats. Wow. Dang it, Bobby. All right, I have to block both of these, right? Yeah, anything other than Eidolon here, and we have a chance to go off next turn, which is all we could really ask for. All right, so you're saying there's a chance. Get to cast this and make 3 mana. Get to play the land. There's another land. I get to sacrifice Neonate to draw a card. 3rd land in a row. All right. I get to cast Faithless Looting. 2 more lands in a row. Man, Magic's a really fun low variance game. Well, I mean, we're not dead except to an Eidolon. So if they don't have an Eidolon, we get another chance next turn. How many lands are in our deck? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is 10. So there's only 8 more lands and 32 cards after this. We're going to 1 here. So this puts us to 5. These put us to 1. I play this just to gain a life, right? It sucks having to draw this Steam-Kin. Perfect. Dang it. That is so unfortunate. Now I have to chump block with the Steam-Kin. If we can keep fading Eidolon and Boros Charm here. Does that kill me? It's active player, non-active player, right? So I need to block here, right? Because otherwise, active player triggers go on the stack first, so non-active player, yeah, Eidolon resolves before Claw. So I have to block because the Eidolon trigger happens before my Dragon's Claw triggers happen. So if I go to 2 here, and like that play I made earlier where I didn't double block the Swift Spear and instead single blocked the Goblin Guide is coming back to bite us here, right? I saved 1 point of damage that turn, but the Swift Spear has now dealt 3 extra points of damage to me. So if I'd have blocked correctly earlier, I'd be 2 points of life higher right now, and I'd be able to keep my Steam-Kin. Come on, can I just have a lightning bolt into a bunch of spells here? How many lands are in my deck? Let's get, at least we get a count on how many lands are in our deck. So there's 3 fetches in this. So there's only 5 lands in my deck at this point. Neonate's a good draw because it's going to let me clear past it. Always yes. Always yield. We need a lightning bolt into stuff. All right. Well, that makes mana. God golly, we are incredibly unlucky. In for Dagger, thank you for the tier 1 sub. I appreciate that. Welcome. Thanks for keeping me around. Oh, Stream Decker's not updated. I definitely forgot to do that. Thank you for the heads up. Yeah, I don't really have anything to do here, right? I mean, I could technically crack this and then, like, play Steam-Kin out of my hand, but that doesn't change anything. And, like, again, we did get kind of unlucky here at the end, but if I would have taken a correct block earlier on the Swift Spear, I'd be plus points of health right now, which would have allowed me to play through this bit of stumble. Oh, you're super... Yeah. There's the MTGA status page if you're ever wondering why things aren't up, down, or otherwise. I could have waited for them to attack, and then if there was a bolt underneath it, I could have played the bolt off the top. Yeah, I could have waited. If the guy had attacked, I could have had an out. I didn't wait for it. That's fine. Listen, in the words of the greatest poet of our generation, you just gotta shake it off. We're gonna move along to the next one now. Bad matchup, a little bit unfortunate in the bad matchup. It's going to be okay. Turn 1 Arbor Elf off a basic forest generally indicates that my opponent's playing a deck called Ponza, which is a nonsense word we use to talk about a green-red land destruction deck. So Ponza refers to a land destruction deck in Modern. They generally play things like Arbor Elf and other cards that accelerate their mana to play these land destruction spells ahead of curve. That being said, it looks like they're doing something else. Whenever a creature comes into play onto your battlefield, that creature gets 3/3 until end of turn. Interesting. Alright, I would like a Steam-Kin, please. Maybe some kind of weird, tribal lightning balls. Yeah, they could be ball lightning deck. They must have a bunch of haste creatures for this card to be relevant, right? Like, the only reason a buff the turn you play something is good. Groundbreaker, okay. This card's a 6/1 with haste and trample that dies at the end of their turn, and then Primal Force Mage makes it a 9/3. They're going to attack for 11 here, I assume. All right, that's an Experimental Frenzy. So, what does that do for me? I can play Burning-Tree Emissary. And then I can play Runaway Steam-Kin off the trigger. And then I can play Insolent Neonate off of... What? 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 Why is there a green bird spell? Why is there a green bird spell? I don't understand. I don't understand. Somebody send help. Where were you when Jeff got Hornet Stung, right? What is going on? I don't understand what's happening. Alright, there's a land, there's a thing. Alright, pass the turn. I think we were gonna get to put Frenzy into play if they didn't have Hornet Sting deal 1 damage to something. So hopefully they don't have another Groundbreaker here. If they don't have another big scary haste creature, we might have a shot. Giant Baiting. Create a 4/4 with haste. As you cast this spell, you may tap 2 untap creatures you control and share a color with it. If you do, copy it. What? Alright, well, my opponent appears to be masterfully baiting here. So that's 2 7/7s. I think we... So... whether or not I want to go to 1 or 0 is a real consideration here. I think I have to double chump because not being able to use fetch lands is a big deal. I think it's important that I be able to use fetch lands next turn. Oh... So, I'm just gonna go ahead and pass here. If we get another turn, we get to get Frenzy going with Runaway Steam-Kin. Yeah, it makes Hornet Sting lethal too. That's funny. Alright, they just drew 3. That's good for us. That's good. Maybe Frenzy goes crazy next turn. That is a Primal Force Mage. So I'm going to elect not to play a land here because I want to be able to play a land off the top of my deck. I am going to cast this as just a 1-drop because I want to be mana neutral. I actually can't cast this, unfortunately, so hopefully there's something under here after I fetch that we can cast. Another Experimental Frenzy. Good lord, we have been incredibly unlucky so far in this league. We'd have just found another 1-mana spell there, or found a 1 or 2-mana spell after we fetched, we'd have probably chained through a lot of our deck. So hoping not to die this turn. I wonder if the Dryad Arbors are there just to trigger the Conspire on giant baiting. Could be. Alright, there's a fetch land. There's another Experimental Frenzy. Good golly. I think I'm just supposed to burn the fetch here. Just not, like, tapping a bunch of my mana to play that is not ideal. Alright, Faithless Looting. So I can't actually play this because Faithless Looting's on the stack. Faithless Looting does give me a little bit of flexibility here because it means that if I get to a card on top of my deck that I can't play out, like a Scalding Tarn here, I'm going to be able to kind of loot through it. Although Neonate's going to let me loot through a little bit faster here. So hopefully... Oh, Magic. Magic's a heck of a game sometimes, chat. Magic's a heck of a game. All you can do is laugh. That is the God's honest truth. I have to laugh because if I didn't, we'd cry. Thanks for the Prime support, J-Wave. Hope you're having a fantastic Wednesday. Welcome. I think I just leave that on top and I'm going to pass. Hopefully we get another turn. Is Hornet Sting the best card you're not playing in Modern? What? Tap all other creatures, has haste. All right, we've been destroyed. We have lost to Timbermare. Shiver me Timbermares, chat. All right. Alrighty. That is we are getting solidly out-memed. We are on the wrong side of history, I agree. Opponent is on cards you didn't know existed tribal, right? Alright. We're going to trim Relic. I'm going to trim the Priest. I'm going to board in 3 bolts. Can you surgical them for the deck list? Asking the real questions. Just get them. This hand is very reasonable until we get Hornet Stung. Until they sting the Steam-Kin, we are doing okay. Alright, I'm playing Steam-Kin out because I ain't scared. Ain't scared of no Hornet Sting. Come at me. Ukatabi Drake. Flying Haste has Echo. 2-1, 2-1 for 1 green. This is like a green shock, chat. I can't remember the last time I had to read this many cards in a constructed match. I can't remember the last time I had to read this many cards in a constructed match of Magic. Alright, let's kick this Bushwhacker and attack them. Search it. Yeah, they're basically playing Green Burn, yep. Essentially playing Green Burn. Alright. Smush you. Our aggro deck's gonna be better this game, it looks like. So this is what Afternoon Modern has become since you've streamed Arena. Interesting. Oh, they sacrificed the Drake. Don't you love your Drake opponent? They probably have Collected Company in their deck too, huh? I'd have to venture a guess. I mean, we can reverse engineer their deck. Just do a Gatherer search for green cards with haste. I bet if you do a Gatherer search for modern legal green cards with haste, you'll find something real close. Alright, that's a frenzy. Why did I discard the land? Mistakes were made. Alright, so they're not dead this turn, but we are putting them to 1. Failed to play around Hornet Sting, didn't get punished. Fist pump. Arena is currently in emergency downtime, and I was planning to do a long stream today, so we're dipping back into Modern for a league. We actually retained a lot more viewers than I was expecting. We only dropped 200 people out of 1,800 from when we were doing Arena. We'll be doing more Standard on Arena once it comes back up. So, this league will probably last about 60 to 90 minutes. I'll grab something to eat, use the bathroom, and then we'll play some more Standard. I wonder if it's going to require another client update. Is that going to be a thing? They said no. It's a server-side update. No download. Perfect. All right. Well, bottom that. We're looking for some more lands. You kept your viewers because the opponent's deck is gas. That's probably true. I would believe that. Oh no! These darn standard legal hate cards. So this is one that is standard legal, but if you're a standard player, you might never have read it before. This is a hate card they printed specifically for Modern to hose decks like what we're playing. So this makes every additional spell we cast in the turn cost 1 more. So it makes it pretty impossible to chain through our deck. That's true. The continuous land clumps also stop us from chaining through our deck. Depending on how aggressive they are, we can probably win this game with just a value frenzy, like play 2 to 3 cards a turn is also probably fine. That's fair. It does. Ugh. All right, 2 spells a turn. Got it. Their deck doesn't play defense all that well either, so, like, maybe I just, like, attack for 3 a whole bunch here and they die. The Hornet Sting gets you every time. Opponent should have killed one of these 2 creatures, because these 2 creatures are just better than this one at this point, because these make mana, and this is just a 1/1 after it kicks. So small mistake on their part. You know, I'm going to crack one of these fetch lands just to thin, because I need these lands to cast Frenzy anyways. I'm going to leave the other one just in case I draw a Mountain before I draw the Frenzy, but... like, saving these to shuffle post-Frenzy isn't nearly as valuable because it, like, I'm not going to be able to cast multiple spells per turn with these Frenzies. So, if they just keep bricking, like, our deck just attacks every turn, so we have 4 points now. That's a beautiful forest. Old Onslaught forest. But I was blinded by the glory of Hornet Sting. Oh, the Hornet Sting. I assume we're going to see them trade Dryad Arbor for our 2/1 here. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. The opponent's deck seems like something that's like Saffron Olive's MO. It's like, got a cute game plan. It's like reasonably budget too. What's the utility land I have? This is Modern Staple Madblind Mountain. It lets me activate to shuffle my deck, obviously. I bet they're just not playing Gutshot. So the Madblind Mountain, because this has the mountain subtype, we can actually get it with our fetch lands, and then when we're chaining through our deck with Frenzy, it can shuffle when we hit a stop, when we hit a card on our deck that we can't play or don't want to play. Alright, lightning bolts and haste creatures are lethal. Dead through Hornet Sting. Alright, so this match empirically proves that mountains are the superior basic land to forest, obviously. Solid hate cards. That was game 3, Zach. Good example of why you don't want to be super interactive modern. Just want to try and run your opponent out of the game. I agree. So, like, they hit 2 of their sideboard cards there that were designed to, like, hose our deck, but then they didn't have a way to kill us paired with them, and we just kind of, like, had our motley crew run them down. Which is one of the reasons why this deck's kind of sweet, is because, like, when you're not actually comboing, you're just, like, this motley crew attack you deck. So we'd really like to draw an Experimental Frenzy, so we can cast it on turn 2. Otherwise, we do have other things going on here. Urza's Tower. Relic of Progenitus. So, my opponent's deck is a deck that we refer to as Tron in Modern. And Tron is a reference to the cartoon from wherever that, however long ago that cartoon is from, where you assemble a combination of things and they are terrifying. Voltron refers to Voltron. And the Tron lands, when you assemble Urza's Tower, Urza's Mine, Urza's Power Plant, these 3 lands, when you have 1 of each of them in play, tap for a total of 7 mana. So 3 lands make a total of 7 colorless mana. We hit the Experimental Frenzy here, and we actually hit the Runaway Steam-Kin as well. What's going on, Sean? Yeah, I'm running long today because I want to get my hours in this week and take off early tomorrow and Friday with the Invitational going on. Like to make sure I do at least 30 hours a week or so. This card's just annoying. It like taps to exile a card from my graveyard. The fact that my opponents played a forest here means that they're not going to assemble all of their Tron lands until the 4th turn of the game at the earliest. So they played this card, which searches their deck for a land. So their deck has all the Tron pieces and lots of cards that let them draw more Tron pieces. So I could jam Experimental Frenzy into play this turn. Should I do that? I've already played a land for the turn. I guess it lets me use this mana. I think I'm going to wait a turn because I've already played my land. So I'm just going to like hang tight. I think I just attack and pass. I'm not in any rush here. They're guaranteed to not have Tron next turn. I probably pop off next turn. Yeah, these Moto promos are very beautiful. I agree. The artwork is so nice. I'm almost less upset that they're playing Tron. Treble, thanks for the 2-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. So here is one of their... So as payoffs with these Tron lands, they play a bunch of these big colorless cards. So this card costs 3 to play and then taps with 5 to destroy all non-land permanents in play. So hopefully my opponent's going to die on our 4th turn here. That is a good draw. So we're going to start with Burning-Tree Emissary. And then if we're not unlucky... If we run anywhere close to average, this Experimental Frenzy will kill them this turn. That's a good start. Cast this with Surge. So this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This is 13. Getting a looting in the bin isn't a terrible thing to have going on. Well, remember when I said if I wasn't incredibly unlucky? I guess I get to flashback this looting here. So I have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, there's a good chance we brick and die here now because there's a Frenzy on top of our deck. So I think I just do this, flash this back. And I'm hoping for like land into 1-drops here. Okay, Prospector's a great draw here. Ritual's a great draw. Okay, we might not be dead yet. We might still be doing it. That means we're done, right? Because I don't have a way to clear past this land because I can't sacrifice this without a card in my hand. So if my opponent doesn't have their 3rd Tron piece, their Urza's Mine next turn, they can't activate the Oblivion Stone. But if they assemble their Tron and have enough mana to use the Oblivion Stone, we are going to die. Yeah, we've been very unfortunate about hitting frenzies and lands back to back. And they have the mine here, so we are just dead. So they get to crack this Oblivion Stone and blow up our entire board. Unfortunately. Get to bring in Blood Moons and Molten Rains here. This card destroys a land for 3 mana. This card turns all non-basic lands into mountains, so it turns my opponent's ability to make lots of mana with their lands off, which is nice. Trim a few miscellaneous things here around the edges. This hand is great. What's going on, Weary Dude? So this hand can technically cast Experimental Frenzy on turn 2 because this sacrifices for a mana, and then this gives me another one. But Steam-Kin is very, very good when you get Frenzy going, so I think it's worth it to kind of pump the brakes and get Steam-Kin down before I get Frenzying. I was curious as to why you've been talking through the basics of how Tron operates. It didn't occur to me you probably have a lot of new viewers unfamiliar with Modern. Yep, there's a lot of people in here who are here normally for standard content that are probably not familiar with a lot of the cards in this format. And this application doesn't have a mouse over overlay, so people can't just like say, hey, what does Chromatic Sphere do? This is a colorless artifact that you can sacrifice it to make a mana of any color. So this allows my opponent to cast cards like Sylvan Scrying, which I assume is what they're casting here. Oh, they have Walking Ballista off of these colorless lands. This is a card that can remove a 1/1 counter to shoot something, so I assume this Steam-Kin is dead. I'm glad I drew a second one. And again, Runaway Steam-Kin is so powerful when we're trying to chain through our deck. I think I'm actually going to go ahead and play this out rather than just jam Frenzy right away. Getting this online is very powerful. And again, because my opponent has 2 Urza's Mines here, the earliest they can have all 3 Tron pieces is turn 4. So I'm like 2 turns away at a minimum from them doing something super scary, so I can afford to like take my time a little bit. There's the Oblivion Stone again, so hopefully they die this turn on our turn 4. That is a good start. So these Burning-Tree Emissaries cost 2 mana and make 2 mana, so they just trigger Runaway Steam-Kin for free, basically. Yeah, so we need to kill them this turn, and with the shuffle and plenty of mana, we should be able to. So I get to go ahead and do this, which makes 3. I get to activate this. So I have 2 mana floating. Skirk Prospector is basically free. To play the land off the top. There's another land. Come on, give me some gas. Desperate Ritual. We're looking for a Bushwhacker at this point. One of your finest Bushwhackers, please. Molten Rain. Molten Rain will do. So Molten Rain's going to go ahead and destroy this Urza Tower. So now we don't have to kill them this turn because we've killed one of their lands. Hey, Bushwhackers. This is my, for those of you at home, this is my the fourth turn of the game. Welcome to Modern. So we're attacking my opponent for a lot. So on turn 4, they're at 16, and they're going to go to how much? They went to -14. So we attacked for 30 on turn 4. We did the thing. Yeah, we did the thing. We did the thing. And we possibly would have done that on the 3rd turn of the game if our opponent hadn't killed our first Steam-Kin. So Modern, for those of you, if you're thinking like, what is this format about? A lot of the appeal to playing Modern is there's a lot of really weird, wacky, powerful combo decks like this. So the plays are kind of bigger and splashier, and there's a lot of kind of playing past your opponent where you interact a little bit, like we killed their land there, they killed our Steam-Kin, but for the most part, there's a lot less interaction in this format than in something like Standard. So this hand needs some mana, but these Skirk Prospectors turn these Bushwhackers into mana eventually, so I think I keep this. Opponent mulligan to 5 this game. Alright, BTE, sounds good. If it looks like I'm going to miss on a land drop, the Neonate can draw through another card, which would be nice, but hopefully we just draw a land naturally next turn. You bring your toy, they bring their toy, you both press go and watch which one lasts longer. $1 million in paper. That's true. A cheap deck in Modern in paper usually costs about $400 to $500 still, with a lot of the decks in this format costing between $1,000 and $2,000 to buy. The format is very, very expensive in terms of money. Modern is Beyblades, basically. We don't have beautiful new cosmetics in this application, though, which is sad. Spatial Contortion, that's rude. Land, please. Rip. Alright, I would like a redraw to land, please. Rip. Yeah, Arena's currently in emergency maintenance mode. Oh. So, they're pretty far off of having their Tron assembled, but they could just hit their next 2 land drops naturally, and any 2 lands will let them activate the Oblivion Stone in 2 turns. Is Arena alive again? Perfect. I am going to go ahead and finish this league, so we'll probably have another 15, 20 minutes of Modern. Because this deck, like most of the decks that we play in Standard, are decks that people have paid to put in a deck queue, so I want to give them their fair shake. They missed their land drop for the turn here, too. That's good for us. So, my opponent has this Spatial Contortion card in their hand, which gives something -3 toughness. So, I don't really want to play the Steam-Kin this turn. I suppose I can sacrifice this and go Emissary, Emissary, Reckless Bushwhacker and attack for a bunch. That's probably the line. It's probably just attack for a bunch here. This will hit for 3, 3, and then I'm going to hit for like 10 this turn. Because this gives all my creatures 1 attack and haste. So this hits for 10 and puts them to 8, and then I have 7 power in play, so they probably have to Spatial Contortion something next turn. Servers are still down, can't get into matches. Okay, yep. So I assume, especially if they don't have a land drop here, that they're going to have to Spatial Contortion something. And it looks like, again, we're going to win this game without actually comboing, just by, like, putting our motley crew together, basically. Oh, this was lethal, right? I missed lethal. Shh. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Shh. I could have played this and killed them, but they had nothing. It would have been bad if they played a 4th land and drew a 5th. Everything's gonna be alright. We are 2-1. Moving on up. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Have a good one, Dude Light. Get you around. Remember, I am going to be a short day tomorrow. Solid 3-2 incoming. I agree. Thanks everyone for hanging out today, by the way. Especially some of my Standard regulars that are hanging out. Maybe dipping into some Modern or learning some of the cards here. Hope you're having a fantastic Wednesday wherever you're at. We're going to play a little bit more Standard after I'm done with this Modern League and the servers for Arena come back up. But remember, this is going to be my last day doing Standard this week. I'll be back with Standard on Monday next week as scheduled. And do two more Standard decks tonight, I believe, and then I'm going to just be doing some Magic Online tomorrow and Friday during the Invitational. Oh, Modern. Where are my opponents? Come play Modern with me, friends. How long am I going to be streaming for tomorrow? I was planning just do a couple hours in the morning. Like one or two Modern Leagues. Probably 2. I think 2 is my goal. Go from like 8 to noon or so. Yeah, we should start getting spoilers for the new set here soon, which is exciting. This hand's fine. Not amazing, but fine. I think this is actually a hand where I kind of don't want a Faithless Looting on one. I guess maybe I have an extra Desperate Ritual. It's probably right to Faithless Looting so I can try and dig to Frenzy. Nah, I'm just gonna wait. I guess I could hit more Burning-Tree Emissaries. Yeah, my hands... So, Faithless Looting's a little bit awkward in this deck, because unlike a lot of the decks that play Faithless Looting in Modern, this deck doesn't generate value from its graveyard, so when you discard cards to it, you are actually experiencing card disadvantage. Look at that, we drew that off the top like a professional. Atlas, thank you very much for the very generous Twitch Prime support. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. So turn 2, we're going to put 2 Emissaries into play, and then kick this Bushwhacker and attack them for 8 on turn 2. No big deal. Just turn 2 attack for 8. Have 6 power left over. Welcome to Thunderdome. And then if we're a true professional, we'll draw Experimental Frenzy next turn and get to like double ritual it into play. Are they playing Wizards? Possibly. Soulscar Mage also sees some play in Mono Red Phoenix, which is like a tier 1.5, tier 2 deck in the format. And these are all cards that the Mono Red Phoenix deck plays. Into Gut Shot. Yep. This is a free spell that deals 1 damage something while it costs them 2 life. And all of these things get bigger when they play a spell. I'm kind of surprised they didn't, like, save that on blocking duty. I guess maybe that would be a little bit obvious what they were doing. We both stumbled in game 3, but my Motley Crew beatdown got there. We are currently 2-1 in this league. I think Mardu Pyromancer is still good in Modern. It's probably fine. If you have 4 Leyline of the Voids and some Ensnaring Bridges, it's probably reasonable. Just like get to play hate cards. Just like hate cards deck basically. The TLDR on Owen Squee is that he is confirmed not playing in the event this weekend. BDM is replacing him, and we're just not talking about it here past that. Are we about to die? This is a Lava Spike. We go to 10. They can attack us for 6. If they have a Lightning Bolt or another Lava Spike, we die here. Light up the stage. Yep. Light them up. They're on fire. Oh, ho, 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 ho. We are dead to a spell. We are dead, dead. They had Lightning Bolt, and they just were like wasting our time. They had Lightning Bolt, and they just wanted to be cute. If they hadn't hit a land there, they could have missed and not killed us. Oh, I guess I had a blocker. I'm dumb. They couldn't have killed us. I had a blocker. Opponent's fine. I'm stupid. Ignore me. Alright, so I want my Dragon's Claws. I want my Bolts. I think I want Relic. Nah, I don't want Relic. I think I just don't want Graveyard Hate in this matchup, and I just want to, like, try and out-aggro them. Looting's a little bit awkward. Part of me wonders if I'm supposed to keep Steam-Kin in against the Gutshot Lightning Bolt deck. There's a possibility that that's not correct. Do I get out and play much Paper Magic anymore? I do not. The majority of my Magic the Gathering is played digitally. The last paper tournament I played was the Nerd Rage Gaming 5K in Bloomington. Hopefully we draw a land here. If we don't draw a land, we're going to have to Faithless Looting to dig for one. Alright, hitting lands there is aces for us. I think we're actually on the just ignore them and try and race plan at this point. Did I find myself missing the social aspect? No. I don't think so. We still have friends over to play games. It's just, Magic's kind of an expensive game to play casually, so a lot of the people we play games with these days, we just do board games with. Like we had people over this past weekend for Christie's birthday. What did we play? We played Century Golems and Hive Mind. If you're someone who likes party games and you want something that's different from Cards Against Humanity, would 10 out of 10 recommend Hive Mind. It's very good. Probably the best new party game I've played in a long time. Yeah, I'm planning to go for another couple hours still. 2, 3, 4 hours. We'll see what the audience is like. Again, I think it's worth getting my Steam-Kin down here. There's a chance it dies, but I think I like putting this down rather than rushing to the Frenzy. Especially with this bolt drawn. Oh, they're bolting me. In response to this bolt, I'm going to go ahead and bolt the Swift Spear. I want to respond to this Prowess trigger. I could maybe get in trouble here. If they have a Gut Shot and 2 other instants, they could save their Swift Spear here. No, I'm definitely bolting the Swift Spear. See how many Phoenixes they have here. They discarded 1 Phoenix, which is another... This is a standard staple that's kind of been taking Modern by storm. Dead to a Lightning Bolt next turn, of which their deck has a lot. Yep. Alright, am I dead? Scale of 1 to dead, where are we at? Oh, maybe. Maybe. Okay. So if they have land bolt or discard Phoenix and play land 1 mana spell, we could be dead. Alright, gotta kill him from 16 here. Let's do it. God, we have been super unfortunate with these frenzies today. Oh gosh, that's incredible. Oh, it's brutal. It's so brutal. They must have ported the Flat Shuffler to Magic Online in the last patch. Woof. All right, we're 2-2. Let's see if we can run a little bit hotter in the 5th match here. Have you considered not having lands and frenzies on top of your deck? You know, it seemed like a strong line, but I wasn't sure if Twitch chat was ready for it. Wasn't sure if it was appropriate for showing on stream. All right, the CN's super reasonable. Would like to hit a second land ideally, obviously, but like pretty good otherwise. Good to go. Cantor into Emissary into Bushwhacker. Basic Plains Aether Vial. Let's do it. So this is a card. This is like a weird sort of creature-only accelerant. So every turn they get to put a counter on their Aether Vial, and then they can activate it by tapping it to put a creature into play from their hand that has converted mana cost equal to the mana on Aether Vial. Yeah, definitely. We've only won one game by doing our combo. We've won 3 or 4 by mediocre beats. So I think I actually just try and Bushwhacker them here. So I get to do this, and then play a Neonate, and then play a Burning-Tree Emissary, and then play a Burning-Tree Emissary, and then play a Burning-Tree Emissary, and then play a Bushwhacker. The Cavern named Human. So Cavern of Souls is like reverse power creep. This is an older card that's better than a current card. This card is unclaimed territory, except the creature that it casts is also uncounterable. This card is one of the big reasons that makes blue and counter spells really bad in Modern. It's been 5 ever. It has been 5 ever, Dakio. You're not wrong. Thank you for the entire year of support. Have a sword to go with your shield. Thanks for keeping me around. They just added, like, another new character to Overwatch 2, didn't they? We should probably do that at some point, I agree. Cavern of Souls for Planeswalkers. That would be awesome. I'd be in. It's really strange that they didn't have a 2-drop on 2. Yeah, that's the plan, T-Dub. They said maintenance should be about 90 minutes, which ends in 20 minutes from now, but if they're up early, I'd believe that. Status page says they're still down. As a heads up, logins are still working for Arena. Matchmaking was down, though. So, people, up is relative. So parts of it are up. And like, we had big burst damage there on turn 2, but it's looking like my opponent's gonna get enough creatures into play here that are big that I'm not gonna be able to close things out unless we find an experimental frenzy and kind of get to punch through. So hopefully we draw a land next turn and get to get Runaway Steam-Kin down and then maybe do something after that. Dark Confidant is a bold play. So this card reveals the top card of their deck every turn, and they lose life equal to its converted mana cost, and then they draw it. So that's impressive. Land. Oh, well, I wanted to draw that eventually, but I wanted to draw a land first. Yeah, I don't know. I think we're probably dead here. I don't think that's possible for their Dark Confidant to kill them before they kill us with Mantis Riders. I think if we'd hit a land this turn and got the Steam-Kin into play, maybe we had a shot. But with missing the land this turn, we're probably just going to be too far behind. Their creatures are going to get pretty big pretty quick. The average converted mana cost in their deck is kind of low, so Dark Confidant's not really that much of a liability. Thanks for people letting me know Arena matches are back up. We're going to finish this last matchup here, and then we'll jump back on over to Arena. We got some mono black aggro and Sultai aggro to wrap things up with for today. Lightning Bolt sounds excellent here. Relic sounds bad. Blood Moon's actually pretty good here. We can play Blood Moon as early as turn 2 in this deck, and this locks them out of casting most of their spells if they don't have a Vial. Thanks, Stack. It has been a hot second, has it? Hasn't it? I'm gonna run to the restroom really quick while we wait for this to pop. Oh. Look at that. Didn't miss anything. Opponent, what are you doing? Do 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 do. All right, on the play. This hand lacks a Frenzy or a Blood Moon, but it's kind of hard to pass up Double Steam-Kin on the play. Yes, Tucox, it has been confirmed that Owen is not playing and that BDM is replacing him, but I'd appreciate it if that is all we talk about here and we don't have any speculation as to why. Cordovas, thank you for the 3-month Prime sub there. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Hope you're having a fantastic Wednesday wherever you're at. Yeah, you could definitely play more fetches. I don't think that's unreasonable by any stretch of the imagination. Alright, well, we really want to draw a Frenzy next turn. It has been confirmed that Owen... I believe it was confirmed that it was not due to health reasons. But past that, I just use other social medias to... I believe he is physically fine, from my understanding. Awesome. Yeah, we're running late tonight, so I'm going to be ending early tomorrow and Friday. Yep, we are in match 5 of this Magic Online League, and then we're going to jump back on over to Arena for another couple of decks before we wrap things up today. No idea, Chalky, and that's where we're not going to talk about speculation on things. Alright, so I'm going to Steam-Kin here. So next turn they could Reflector Mage me, which sends the Steam-Kin back to my hand. I could, like, go big here and, like, try and start chaining. Do I want to chain through? So I could go Cantor into Faithless Looting, which puts 3 on here, which then lets me Desperate Ritual into the Frenzy and do stuff. So yeah, I think I'm actually going to go big here. Can a mod make a command? Please and thank you. So we got 2 shots at a Frenzy. Blood Moon or Frenzy? Blood Moon or Frenzy? We're not here to not frenzy. Let's do it. This is turn 3, by the way. Can we make a useful command, Weens? Alright, don't have 2 lands or 2 frenzies in a row on top of my deck. Look at that. Got to have our Blood Moon and eat it too. We have a Faithless Looting in our bin right now too to clear through things, which is great. This is what it looks like, chat. This is, remember when I said we could kill on turn 3? This is what the turn 3 kill looks like. Ha! Got him. There we go. All right, I'm glad we got to get one really big turn off in there before we were done playing this deck today. Makes me feel much better. Will I be streaming the event so we can watch / discuss it here? I will be when I'm done streaming my modern portion, I will host the event on my channel. I will not, however, be recasting it. Yeah. Want to get like some other paperwork type stuff done for the stream. I might write an article for next week. That'll be a good time to do that. I think I'm gonna have lunch with Christy tomorrow afternoon as well. I don't get used to do that occasionally before I was streaming full time, and I want to get over and do that again. Visit her at her place of work. That's true. It's hard to be less consistent than Narset Cannon. I like that this deck has those turn 3 draws like that, but we also had plenty of like Motley Crew beatdowns, I like to refer to them as. We're just like, we kind of cobbled together our 1/1s and our 2/2s and attacked a bunch. So I like the range that this deck can have. Yeah, I'm gonna keep this. If we hit a land in our first 2 draws, we get to turn 2 Blood Moon. Shadowborn is probably less consistent than Narset. That actually means that I get to guaranteed Blood Moon on turn 2. Now they do have Aether Vial here. So my opponent's deck generally doesn't have any basic lands in it. So Blood Moon often locks them out of casting spells other than Aether Vials. So if I get Blood Moon down quickly, my opponent's not going to be able to play much magic. Now they could have a Thalia here, which would basically make my hand not work. So hopefully we don't get Thalia this turn. Noble Hierarch is also good here because this makes mana of 3 different colors, which allows them to like cast spells under Blood Moon easier. Tonorka, thank you for the Prime support. Hope you're having a fantastic Wednesday wherever you're at. Thanks for keeping me employed here. Another land. So here's the real question. Do I think this Blood Moon is impactful enough? Yeah, I think because I drew the land, I think I'd actually rather just put Frenzy into play here on turn 2 to try and kill them on 3 or 4. There's a good chance they can't interact with Frenzy once it's on the table. They did miss a counter on Lieutenant. They could have cast the Lieutenant and vialed in the Noble in response to its trigger. So if they played a little bit better, they could have had 1 more point of damage on this Lieutenant here. It was very smart on Wizards of the Coast part to not have Deputy of Detention be a human. Modern is better off having it not be a human. Alright, so hopefully we have a crazy turn or two here. Without a Steam-Kin in play, we're not guaranteed shenanigans. That is incredibly unfortunate. Just keep in mind this Frenzy is experimental. Yeah, I agree, Teacup. Had this Blood Moon just been, you know, like almost any card out of my sideboard, I'd be better off here. I'm dead. Am I dead to Mantis Rider here? Knight of Autumn. Super dead to that. Alright, so that's gonna destroy my Frenzy, and then we're done. My college years were anything but experimental. I was very, very tame and timid. It probably didn't help the fact that I was like, you know, 16, 17, 18 for most of college. It says, this deck is like many of the decks in Modern, where it's got draws that can kill people on turn 3, but it's a fringe tier 2, tier 3 deck because it's kind of inconsistent at what it does. This Frenzy is very much experimental. I feel like that league had the entire range of hands that you could experience with this deck. We had hands where we killed them on turn 3, but we also had a lot of hands where we got the Frenzy going, and then we just, like, hit a bunch of lands in a row, or we hit too many Frenzies and just didn't do anything, so, you know.